Welcome back to Jedi Enclave. I am Daniel.
I'm Chris.
And this is our weekly live show. Every Wednesday, 6 o'clock Central, we talk about Star Wars news, TV shows, movies, comics, and every once in a while, when the spirit of Jesus Christ compels us, we talk about other things like the DC and Game of Thrones and...
Part of what you just
MCU.
said was a lie.
Yeah, we don't really... Oh, I thought you were talking about the DC part because we don't really talk about DC too much. In fact, I think the first DC thing we'll ever cover on this channel will be The Flash when it comes out.
Because that's Batman too.
Yeah. And also because I fully plan to strap you to a chair, Clockwork Orange style, and we're going to watch the first two Michael Keaton Batman movies.
I think I've
I
seen
don't
the
care.
original.
I don't care if you've seen it. What I said was I'm going to strap you to a chair and we're going to watch Batman 89 and Batman Returns, and it's going to be fucking great.
Okay.
Anyway, more on that when The Flash comes out. In fact, well, actually, I read that it was rated PG-13, and the film was finished.
As you would expect.
Yeah. Well, no, because that movie has had some trouble. I think it's been in. They've been doing it for like 6 years or something. It's like insane. But anyway, we're here to talk about Star Wars. Today, we're talking about Mando Season 3, Episode 4, The Foundling. We're going to recap it, do a spoiler thing. We're talking about Bad Batch, The Tipping Point. We got one piece of Star Wars news. Not a ton happening in Star Wars other than just the shit happening on TV. So stick around for that. In the meantime, thank you to our friend Connor at the Star Wars Hub and Star Wars Veritas 2. Extremely great Facebook pages that deserve your support, and he does the Lord's work over there. It's the second God reference I've made.
Yeah.
It feels a little weird. I swear to God, I'm not being converted.
I think it's because we were just watching Yellow Jackets,
Yeah.
and there was that scene with that one Jesus freak girl.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry. While you're also here, make sure you click like, subscribe, share. We're also on Discord.
Yes.
And our Discord actually looks kind of nice because you did all the work on it. It's got
it's organized and everything.
Yeah. So join us there. Links in the description of whatever video you're watching, which is either on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook Live. So check that out. Now, ordinarily after this, at 7, we play Battlefront 2, which we're not doing today.
Nope.
We're giving Gremlin Squad a break, and we're playing Elite Dangerous. And it's pretty much Star Wars if you never got out of your ship. Without any of... Well, actually, you can get out of your ship in Elite Dangerous, but...
Yeah.
With none of the ships.
We're just going to fucking fly around the galaxy and have a good time.
Yeah, and it'll actually be, I suspect it will be a blast. So join us for that at 7. So real quick, let's talk about, I've got some bad news, Chris.
Okay.
It's sad.
I am prepared.
Yeah.
What is the bad news?
So you might remember a while ago, we talked about a report of a secret Star Wars project that was going to be a movie helmed by Damon Lindelof from Lost and like a bunch of other shit. It like he's HBO's Watchmen, which was really great. Have you seen that yet?
Not all of it, no.
Have you seen the original Watchmen?
Yes.
That might be the next thing we do after Yellow Jackets, because it acts as a sequel to the film. Yeah. Alan Moore's Watchmen, which by the way is great. He famously hates the movie. Alan Moore hates every movie adaptation of his comics ever made.
I think he just hates everything.
Yeah, he's very cantankerous.
Just very persnickety old man.
But David Lindelof was, in charge of that, and there was he was also this film was going to be directed by Charmin Obey-Chinoy. Both of them apparently are no longer attached to the project, and this news comes just a week after they turned their script in.
Ooh.
Which is not a great sign.
No, that suggests that the script was in fact the reason that they got kicked off.
Right. Now Lindelof gave an interview around this time and said that sorry, it wasn't Chinoy. It was Lindelof and Brett Gibson, who are not attached anymore. Okay. He gave this little interview that was like, the gist of it is, you can go read it if you want. The gist of it is, Star Wars means a lot to me, and I don't want to do anything for Star Wars that isn't absolutely perfect. And at one point, you have to make the decision of, do you want to be in the kitchen making it, or do you want to just be the one consuming it? And I think the one I would be more comfortable with is the one consuming it.
Okay.
So this does not mean that the movie's not happening, by the way. Especially if they have a script already, and if they like most of it,
or even part of it.
Yeah.
Like,
if they can make Solo a Star Wars story happen, they can make anything happen.
yeah, like having any script makes it much easier to make the next script, because you already have the ideas arranged in more or less the order that you want.
And it's not like they've already filmed most of it and then decided they didn't like it and then they're reshooting it at the last minute.
Like it's much cheaper to make changes at this point.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of a letdown, because Damon Lindelof is really great. I mean, he's a really smart guy. He does really good work too. So that's not happening. But
oh well.
Yeah, life goes on. Now for the main thing we're doing today. Well, the main two things we're doing. Mandalorian had its new episode this morning.
Yep.
Called The Foundling, Chapter 20, which was, I thought, like a banger of an episode.
Yeah,
it was pretty neat.
It's really good.
Some pretty shocking things that I didn't expect. One thing in particular, and when it happened, I was like, that's kind of brilliant. That makes perfect sense. I love this. And also, the Bad Batch had... God, they're getting close to the end of that run,
yes,
right? So
I actually looked it up. So this is next week they're going to put out 2 episodes, and that'll be the season finale.
Oh man, okay. So that had some interesting stuff happening too. So we're going to recap both of these shows,
because they're both going to some very interesting places.
I want to do a quick before we move on to spoilers. I want to do a quick like what we usually do, spoiler free. What did you think? And so last week's episode was 55 minute long episode. This week was half of that time, and it really pissed me off, because last week was like, I had a lot of fun watching The Mandalorian, because you actually have a second to sit down and get settled in it and everything. But like on the other hand, they put a lot in it. There's there's a lot of shit that happens, and if you're into that like real fast paced kind of, I would prefer that they let sequences breathe, like scenes breathe, because it just kind of lets you think a little bit more about what's happening and everything.
I think for the stories that the 2 episodes are trying to tell, the lengths made sense. This was, without going too far on it, it's sort of a monster of the week episode, more built around, action and using that to develop character relationships.
Yeah, it was mostly action set pieces. Yeah.
Last week's episode was far more about sort of drilling down into the nitty gritty about some characters and the New Republic as a setting and what it means to be part of the New Republic.
Yeah.
Part of the reason Andor had such long episodes was because, again, they were drilling down into really intellectual territory and having to make sure you really got at what they were pointing at.
They were also leaving no stone unturned with character development too.
Yes.
And it was a different way of doing it. I also wonder if we were to go to last week's episode and take out the whole Dr. Purging thing. Take out the parts of it that were Mandalorian, and leave just the Dr. Purging thing. I wonder how long it would have ended up being.
Still be like 40 minutes, right?
Yeah,
because the Mando parts were really pretty.
Yeah, it wasn't that. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it just, I don't know. It's like there for a second. It was like they watched our show, and they were like, you know what, we're gonna give these guys a 50-minute long episode, and then I just got really sad. Everything else is fine with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the standard Mandalorian stuff. The music is great. The costuming and stuff is great. The stunt acting is all fantastic. Because one of the advantages of doing things the way Mandalorian does is that you can get really good stunt actors, put them in this armor, and it's indistinguishable from having the acters, because all that is done being voice.
Yeah. So it was fine. Now, here's the thing. We're going to spoil it, because that's what we do, because we're real excited to talk about it. If you've not seen the episode yet, please turn away, go watch it, come back, because you want to experience it for yourself. It was a lot of fun. I thought it was great. So you've been warned. Don't come at me. Don't come at my family. This is what it is. So season 3, episode 4, chapter 20. I don't know. I don't know why they have different nomenclatures. Like half of everyone calls it episode 4, and then everyone online calls it chapter 20. I don't know. So we open up. It's just another day in Mandoville, right? Everyone's firing guns. They're wrestling with knives and shooting.
There are so many. Like every time we come here, there are more and more Mandalorians.
I know. Everyone's shooting flamethrowers at each other. This establishing shot is so fucking busy.
Yeah.
It's like there are like 70 people.
Like they must have had like the stunt director went down and like made 10 different groups. Okay, you people are gonna wrestle. You're gonna shoot blasters. You're gonna have the flamethrowers going out. You're gonna throw knives at each other. Blah, on and on down the line.
Yeah. Here's the hand-to-hand combat thing, and it reminds me a whole bunch. Did you ever play KOTOR 2?
Yes.
When you go to Dixon, which is a planet where the Mandalorians are hanging out. Where
a moon, actually, but yes.
Yeah, and I think Mandalore is there.
Yep.
They
have a camp, and they're doing all this.
They're doing the same thing, where they're all like, we fight all day. It's our fucking thing. We fight. It's my immediate impression was like, it's kind of like that from KOTOR 2. The other thing I thought was interesting too is that their armor is a mess.
Yes.
It's all over the place. It reminds me a whole bunch of Din Djarin's armor from the first season before he got his like sweet ass Beskar armor.
I think there's a couple things going on there potentially. So one possibility is that these aren't like an established organization with like a territory or a nation or anything. So they're kind of having to make do with whatever they can find and whatever they can put together.
I think that's true.
The other possibility is that this is like them expressing their clan or their family or their heritage via different paint schemes and things.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of both. I saw someone point out that a couple of them seem to have parts of Stormtrooper armor. Like it might not even be actual Beskar.
Yeah.
Probably because that shit's really hard to get a hold of.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Mando didn't even have very much in the way of Beskar until a while in.
In fact, that amount of Beskar he gets for doing that job is probably the biggest Beskar donation they've had since the Purge or whatever. So Bo-Katan is walking around just noticing that all these guys can fight, right? And these guys are literally an army just sitting right there in front of her, and you can just see her like walking around, wheels in her head turning like and more on this later, because I think I've got a good lead on Bo-Katan's thing here. Bo-Katan actually gets some pretty good character development in this episode. I don't think I think she's angling a little bit. And
could be.
I'm not saying it's bad. I just think everyone get ready for some conflict with Bo-Katan. So Grogu has found some creatures on the beach.
They're crabs.
Yeah.
They're hermit crabs or whatever. They got the shells, and he might enjoy eating them. And because he enjoys eating everything.
Yes, and he's trying to figure it out. Like, one of them will move, and like he picks one up, and he like looks at it, but it goes back in its shell, and he's like, "You motherfucker! How the fuck am I supposed to eat you now?"
With the Force. Yeah.
So Mando walks up, and he's like, "Quit fucking around with the rocks. It's time to learn how to fight." And like it was really funny. As soon as he takes Grogu away, all the little crabs get up and instantly run away. They're like, "Oh, he's not here! Everyone run!"
It's the buzz, cheese it.
Yeah, it's just like there's this palpable relief with crabs. It's just really funny. So Mando walks up to the Mandalorian equivalent of the boxing ring where they're doing hand-to-hand and stuff, and he's like, "All right, the kid Grogu's next." And Grogu looks at him like, what?"
Excuse me?
Yeah. So Grogu watches the fight that's happening in the moment, which is the kid from the last episode that almost gets eaten by or the 2 episodes ago that almost gets eaten by the thing, right?
Yep.
And like he's kind of watching him, and then maybe he starts to think like, "Oh, there are actually a few times where I literally killed or tried to kill someone, so maybe this won't be so bad." And Bo-Katan walks up and he's like, "Okay, he's literally an infant.
Like he is not even as tall as your boot."
Yeah, and Mando's like, sink or swim. Like this is the way, and
he'll be fine.
Yeah. So Mando calls over the Mando ref, and he's like, "We're gonna enter this infant into the fight." And he's like, "But he's a fucking infant." And he's like, "Did I fucking stutter?" And he's like, "Okay, well, what weapons are you using?" And he's like, I give a fuck. Let the little bastard. He's fighting pick." And so he turns to him. He's like, "Okay, what are we using?" And he's like, "Guns."
And paintball guns specifically.
Yeah, well, he just said blasters, I think, or guns or something at first.
It was darts, I think.
Yeah. So my immediate thought was, it doesn't matter what weapon you're about to choose. Do you have one that's only 4 inches long? Because that's the only one that's going to be able to fit him, right?
Yeah.
So the ref asks I think the kid asks why he's not wearing a helmet.
Mm-hmm.
And Mando's like, you can't fucking talk, so you can't take the creed. Like, doesn't that make sense? And the kid's like, well, like, if he can't take the creed, then he's too young to fight. And he's like, well, you're about to get your ass whooped, so I wouldn't get there too fast. So
I think the actual line is something along the lines of those who do not know should not speak.
Yeah. Which, by the way, is a great shot. Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So he turns to Grogu and he's like, okay, don't embarrass me in front of the other Mando dads. And the ref comes back with the weapons, right?
Yeah.
And he
they're like little wrist-mounted dart gun
and
things.
It's so fucking hilarious because Bo-Katan straps on the tiniest dart launcher I've ever seen onto his arm, and it's still too big for him, right? And Grogu is like, I'm going to die today. And Bo-Katan's like, look, my dad was an asshole too. He was just proud of me. Like, don't worry about it. So the rules are each of them have 3 paintball darts.
Mm-hmm.
Each hit is 1 point. The first person to 3 points wins.
Yeah.
And Grogu's like, I can barely count, but okay. So he signals the beginning of the fight. Grogu is immediately hit, just out of the bat, like bam.
Just boom, right in the chest.
Yep. And he turns to Mando, and he's like, got this look like, Dad, I don't want to do this anymore. And he's like, get your ass back in there. Everything's fine. So Grogu is like, okay. Collects himself. He's immediately hit again.
Boom.
And he turns to Mando. Mando's like, just fucking use the Force or something. And he's like, that's not how the Force works. So he gets up. Kid goes to fire again. Grogu's like, one thing I'm a motherfucker at? Front flips. And so he does some front flips, confuses the kid, because, like, where the fuck did he go?
Mm-hmm.
Lands, 3 shots, center mass.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah. And wins the fight.
Yeah.
And Bo-Katan's like, shit, did you teach him that? And he's like, no, that's literally the most dangerous being in the universe did. And she's like, word. That's
all right. Yeah, fair.
That's pretty cool. And so the kid goes off to stare into the lake and think about his failures because they're Mandalorians. And if you don't want to fight, you have to, like, kill yourself or something. Not literally, but yeah, he's real upset because it was literally an infant that beat him. So he's immediately grabbed by a flying pterodactyl thing.
Just swoops down.
Which, by the way, this fucking kid cannot avoid getting eaten.
Cannot catch a fucking break because, like, the alligator fucking monster just swooped up and was about to chomp down on him. And now
you would think he wouldn't go anywhere near that water. He'd be like, I'm going to stay in the cave, I think.
Like, the first establishing shot of this actually made me think of the fucking Game of Thrones dragons. Like,
of the animal, you mean?
Yeah.
I guess I don't remember too much of what
it had, like, the same general silhouette, and, like, it was filmed in a very similar way.
Oh yeah,
I guess.
I just thought of Jurassic Park 3 when they go into the big bird cage.
Okay.
Well, you haven't seen Jurassic Park until I showed it to you a couple of years ago, so you probably don't know what I'm talking about.
The one where Chris Pratt does the thing with his hands?
That's Jurassic Park 4.
Okay, then no, I don't know what you're talking about.
So anyway, the kid's immediately grabbed by a creature, and they, like, Mando goes to shoot him, and he's like, don't, because, like, you might hit the kid, and so they go, they take.
The explanation is don't shoot because it'll kill the kid.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of weird.
Like, yeah, I thought that was weird. Like, is it gonna, like, flex its fucking talon reflexively and crush his back or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that maybe they just didn't want to accidentally hit him or something.
That's also possible.
Yeah. So they give chase on jetpack, right? Mm-hmm. And so they chase for a little bit, and then they have to stop because they ran out of fuel. And Paz Vizsla, who's one of the guys that chased, is like, yeah, this always happens. Like it always gets away. And on cue, Bo-Katan's ship, the Gauntlet, just in frame chases after him. And she's like, I'll do it myself, bitches. This is a great opportunity for me to get everyone to like me.
So Mando's probably thinking, shit, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah. So there's this gorgeous shot of the creature being chased by the Gauntlet against the sun, right? And it looks really neat, and there's a title card. Cue the fucking theme. Bo-Katan comes back to Mandoville without the kid. Yeah. And she's like, I saw where the lair is, so let's go get him. Like, this is the thing. The creature nests on top of a rock formation, and we have to climb to avoid the creature killing the kid. Which I thought was also weird too. Like, is this creature spiteful? Is it like, if I can't have the kid, you can't have it either, so I'm just going to kill him?
Also, wouldn't speed be important? Because, like, presumably this creature kidnapped the kid to eat him, right?
Yeah.
So you'd assume that the kid would already be eaten by this point.
Yeah, I thought that too. It's like, did he like put him in the fridge or something?
I don't know.
So It doesn't matter. It's Star Wars. Don't think about it that much. So they have to climb the rock formation, and Bo-Katan, Mando, and Paz Vizsla, and a training group to go to get him, right? And like they get on the ship and they get to go. Grogu's watching forlornly, and Armor's like, okay, like, come here, kid, we got shit to do if you're gonna be like a real Mandalorian.
Also, you're way too small to go with them.
Yeah.
Never mind all the times that you've hung around with Mando and, killed or nearly killed people.
Yeah.
You're too small.
In fact, like, you've obviously never had any instances in your life where you've pacified a creature so much larger than yourself. Anyway, let's go and do Mandalorian shit. So he takes them into the Forge, and he gives the Armor gives him a lesson on the Forge, and she's like, the Forge is the heart of Mando culture, and like
fucking forge the metal as we forge ourselves, and it all becomes stronger. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, lots of philosophy, lots of kind of religious, imagery and everything. So Grogu doesn't like the big pneumatic hammer, and it kind of sends him into flashback land.
He's in fucking flashbacks.
Which I thought was interesting because they did the same thing with Din Djarin back in season 1. He watches the Armor, make him something new, and he has flashbacks to his childhood.
Maybe it's something Mandalorian about watching the sort of the zen of working metal that activates the mind.
Like it's like a hypnotic thing.
Yeah,
I think it's just a storytelling device. Obviously,
could also be that.
Maybe there's maybe there's some fumes in there that just like you just kind of start tripping balls a little bit.
It's the living water.
Yeah, yeah. So we're at the Jedi Temple, and bitches, you knew this was going to happen because we saw it in the trailer, right? So the Jedi are they're guarding Grogu, and the 501st comes in through the door, right? And they cut down all the Jedi, and one of the Jedi right before he dies shoves Grogu in his floating bassinet baby pod into an elevator, right? So Grogu's like, okay, we're going up. He sits on the elevator for a second. Fucking door opens, and oh my fucking god, it's Ahmed Best as a Jedi.
Not Jar Jar Binks, just regular ass Ahmed Best.
And he's like, don't worry, kid. Misa Bombad Jedi. He's like, let's fucking go. Picks up the dead Jedi's lightsaber, and he's like, I'm not picking this up because I need a lightsaber. I already have a lightsaber.
I'm not picking this up to like keep it safe or anything. I'm picking this up to use it.
Yeah. Dual wielding lightsabers, let's fucking go. He's killing stormtroopers right and left. Pushes one guy straight off the balcony. He's like, you're splat against the ground, splat. And he loads Grogu up on a speeder bike and is like, fuck you guys, we're out of here. Now, I posted about this earlier today, but I was thinking about this. So first of all, this character already exists because Ahmed Best hosted that kids Jedi training show.
Oh, okay.
And that's the same character.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. Ahmed Best has always been a great actor, and everyone was stupid for not understanding it. And we all kind of collectively owe him an apology for the shit that we put him through, because in just a couple of minutes of acting, sold me on the fact that he was a badass Jedi, and was really engaging and fun to watch. And he I liked his performance. I thought it was real fucking great. And like, it's kind of nice that they're like, you know what? You spent 3 movies as a bumbling idiot, a character that you did not create, by the way, saying dialogue that you did not write.
Like it is not Ahmed Best's fault that Jar Jar Binks is an annoying piece of junk.
Right. So you want to know what we're gonna do to clear your ledger here? Here's 2 fucking lightsabers. Go kill some stormtroopers and be a badass while you're doing it. It's like, oh, it's so good. So they get up on it's a clone era speeder bike, and they go, and a gunship catches up to him, and like they're shooting at him.
It's just fucking shooting into traffic.
Yeah.
Complete disregard.
They don't fucking care. Yeah. Like the Palpatine's like, no survivors. That includes the general public if that needs to be so. So it damages the engine, right? So Ahmed Best is. Probably should have written down this character's name. I'm just going to refer to him as Ahmed Best.
It starts with a T.
Yeah,
but I don't remember.
So he flies into a hover train tube, which is a lot like the speeder chase in episode 2.
Yeah.
At the beginning, and he uses a little bit of brain work and kills one of the gunships with an oncoming train. And it's pretty fucking cool. So he flies his speeder bike through civilians, including that little museum thing that Pershing visits with the highest peak on. Yeah. And which, by the way, looks exactly the same. So really, it really didn't matter what era it's in.
I mean, it wouldn't have eroded that much in 30 years?
Well, I think the point was that, like, is it really that different from, like, from the regular civilian's point of view, particularly on Coruscant, which I assume at that level, high enough in the multi-level, thing, these guys probably have money because you like the poor people live underneath. Did it really change that much?
Yeah, Coruscant has been so built up over the centuries and such that, like, I imagine a lot of it wouldn't really change all that much.
Yeah,
just because the regime changed.
Yeah, but what I'm also saying is that there are still people out enjoying it. They don't really care who's doing what, unless you fly a speeder bike through the museum, and that's a problem. So they get away from the gunship, right? And Ahmed Best is like, okay, look, I've got some friends we're going to meet up with, but our landing isn't going to be so much a landing as it's going to be a crashing. So hold on. And fucking Grogu like closes his pod and they crash land on a landing pad with a fucking Nubian starfighter. And just for a second, I was like, what is happening? And I was thinking, okay, so Padme's still alive.
That looks a lot like Padme's ship.
But it's not. Okay, because I remember the ship that she has in episode 3. So this is the ship that she uses in episode 2. Yeah. It's a little bit narrower. It doesn't have like the really big things or whatever. I think it is a different ship anyway. Anyway, it's a Nubian ship with fucking Naboo royal guards, which they didn't answer. Like, they didn't expand on that at all. No, I thought they're
just there.
It was really weird, and I hope we get an answer for it, because that seems like a specific thing to put in there, right?
Yeah.
So the guards get off they meet him on the landing pad after he does his crashing, and he's like, I'm at best, like, they're right behind me, and the guards are like, where are the other fucking Jedi? He's like, there are no others. Everyone's fucking dead. It's a fucking nightmare. We need to go. And so, as if on cue, a gunship shows up and lands, and a bunch of clones come out and attack. And the guards are like, take the ship, we'll be human shields. They immediately die.
Yes.
Right?
They take some clones with them, but they do immediately.
Yes. Just remember, the Naboo soldiers aren't necessarily known for being great fighters. No. They have really good hats, but they aren't known for being great fighters. So, with interceptors on their heels, they're able to escape Coruscant and make the jump to hyperspace. And this whole fucking sequence, anytime you put a lightsaber in Star Wars, I immediately get hard, right? It's like, this is what I'm here for in Star Wars. But just this whole thing with Ahmed Best, and just knowing that now he's had a role that everyone has seen, that he probably, I'm sure he's very proud of the work he did with Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Because it was a good performance. He's finally got something where everyone else thought was really great and really cool, and I kind of love that for him.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it happened. He makes a great fucking Jedi. So, Grogu snaps back to present day, and the armorer is like making some for him, and he's like, it's a tradition to donate some of your earnings, because we're literally a church and you tithe, and give us Beskar.
Oh, less church, more cult.
Yeah, they are very culty. Yeah. So that's what I use to make your next piece of armor, and it's a like a chest plate thing with a Mudhorde signet, and it's actually called something. I looked it up earlier. I just can't remember what it is. Like medieval knights wore them. Like there would be a spot on their armor that was weak, so they would put it there, and it would be like a circle with a thing on it, right? So for him, it's a chest plate. It takes up most of his fucking body, and it's got the Mudhorde signet on it, which calls back to the first season.
Yeah.
And it looks ridiculous on him.
And she also kind of attaches it to his
Mithril
Beskar chainmail shirt that he's wearing.
Yeah. I assume he's going to grow into this, but honestly, he's not going to grow that much.
Yeah.
But
whatever.
I started thinking, he's got to wear a helmet, because that's what they do. Like, right? He can't take the Creed without it. What kind of fucking helmet is he going to have with those big floppy fucking ears?
I mean, either they make a helmet with holes so his ears stick out, or they make a helmet that like armors the ears.
Here's a doctrine question. Does that count as if people can see your ears, does that mean that you've shown your head to someone?
I don't think it's showing your head so much as is taking off the helmet.
Yeah.
Like, because like if your helmet gets broken and someone can see your face, does that count?
Or it's like what what's his name from Space Boston said in the second season when they're doing that, that thing where it's like, yeah, you went off and you changed into a thing, but is it really that much different? Like, these are all made up rules and are all stupid.
I feel like the idea behind the creed is that there has to be intention in taking off the helmet.
Yeah.
For there to be,
or having it taken
sin.
off of you.
Yeah.
Like the dishonor and everything. So, meanwhile, on a different part of the planet, the gauntlet lands, and the hunting party departs, and they're going to go find the kids. So they find the rock formation, and they make camp, and they're like, okay, we'll climb up this bitch in the morning. So they make food. Bo-Katan turns to Mando and is like, how the fuck am I supposed to eat without taking my helmet off? And he's like, you don't. You go hide somewhere and no one can see you. And she's like, okay, that's really
okay,
fucking
fine.
Yeah, fine.
Whatever.
So the group starts to split up to go eat. It turns out that since Bo-Katan is the leader of the war party, she gets the honor of sitting next to the fire and getting to take her helmet off. And you can see she's like, this is happening faster than I thought it would. Yeah. So she has a little, she has some contemplation in food by the fire. I just, this entire time, I'm looking at Bo-Katan and I just see her fucking gears moving about the situation that she's in and how she can take advantage of everything.
I interpreted it differently, but having heard your idea, I think yours is more correct.
Yeah, we'll talk about it at the end.
Yeah,
because more happens. So it's morning time, and again, the creature apparently kills its prey out of spite if you try to go rescue it, which I think is really weird.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh, so this is a stealth mission. We can't just go in.
Fucking climbing up this sheer vertical rock face. Let's go.
So they spend like the whole day climbing. And I have in my notes, how the fuck is Paz climbing with a literal gunship gun strapped to his back?
He's just that strong.
I
mean, have you seen that guy? He's huge.
Yeah, but that gun is huge. Like, it's Jesus Christ. You think he would, I don't know. Just get a pistol. So they get to the nest. The creature's not there. And they start scanning and they see a heat source. And, oh, by the way, it's Paz Vizsla's son. And so he's an idiot because it's his son and he's allowed to be an idiot.
Yeah.
And he goes off and yells for this kid, which is funny because it reminds me of the same Jurassic Park movie where these guys are running through the jungle screaming for their kid. And Alan Grant's like, there are fucking dinosaurs here. Why are you yelling? So he is immediately attacked by the most adorable baby pterodactyl things I've ever seen. And then all of a sudden, like, Mama Pterodactyl comes back. And it's gross. And she fucking regurgitates the kid, but he's still alive.
Yeah.
Like, he's not, probably because of his armor, right? Like, spits him back, because that's what fucking, birds are gross, by the way. It's the shit they do.
Yeah.
And he tries to, like, spit it up and give it back to the little babies. And the creature realizes that the war party is there, and she's like, oh, fuck you, I'm killing the kid.
Yeah.
Grabs the kid and flies off. And so they chase with jetpacks. Now, since they were real close to it when it takes off, they're able to keep up, right? Because it doesn't get a good lead on them or whatever. So Bo-Katan is able to, she gets to the creature and gets some stabs in, but it's like, get the fuck off me, and, like, kicks her, and it knocks that part of her armor off.
Yes,
right?
one of her
pauldrons,
shoulder piece.
So she, like, figures out her jetpack, and, Mando is able to bind one of its wings with one of his, like, shooty ropes. Shooty ropes.
Nets, whatever.
Yeah. And it messes up how it flies, and he's able to, like, he does this really neat maneuver where he knocks the kid out of its claw, and then he, like, flies and grabs him on the jetpack with the jetpack. And the creature falls into the water and is promptly eaten by the lizard thing that tried to eat the kid from the earlier episode.
Because the alligator is much bigger.
Right. Always a bigger fish.
Yes.
So Mando has saved Paz Vizsla's son. And I think this is going to be significant because the last big thing we've seen from them is when they fought and Baz tried to take his helmet off, and they had like, and that's when he got excommunicated.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know where she's like, you ever take your helmet off? And he's like, oh, I wish you hadn't asked me that.
It's kind of awkward.
Yeah. So now he's kind of in debt to him, right?
Yep.
So they get back to camp, and Armor's like, Bo-Katan, you did the coolest thing in the Creed, and you saved a kid. Like, this is the way. And Bo-Katan's like, oh, I brought you some baby pterodactyls. And the Armor's like,
they're foundlings.
Yeah. What the fuck are we supposed to do with these? And she's like, I don't know. Fucking train them and ride them. I don't give a fuck.
Fucking put helmets on them.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I think it's really funny. She literally stuffed those motherfuckers in her ship.
Yeah.
So
how did she fit? Like, where did they get the giant steak they're baiting them out with?
I have no idea. I don't know. So maybe maybe Bo-Katan just has a store of really good steaks on the ship.
I wouldn't put it past her,
Yeah.
honestly. Have you seen her castle
Yeah.
before it was blown up?
Yeah, she's probably very accustomed to having nice things like that.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, well, come here so I can repair your armor. And like they go into the forge, and
Like, while Armor is working, Bo-Katan just kind of looks up and sees the giant, you know,
yeah, the mythosaur on the thing.
the mythosaur on the wall. She's
Right.
like, hey, can I have one of those?
Well, she asked, she's like, do you want your night owl signet? And she's like, well, actually, can I have the mythosaur? And she's like, I don't give a fuck. So she's like, so I saw a mythosaur. And she's like, what, in a vision? And she's like, no, like I literally saw one. And she's like, yeah, you're probably tripping balls. Like, shit happens like that to Mandalorians. And she's like, no, it was real. And the Armor's like, this is the way. And Bo-Katan's like, bitch, I saw a mythosaur. Like, how are you not phased by this? She doesn't care. Turns around, makes the fucking thing,
Mm-hmm.
and she gets a really nice pauldron with a mythosaur on it.
Beskar.
Yep.
By the way.
And she looks up at the wall at the skull thing, and that's how the episode ends.
Mhm.
Now, this is like, is Bo-Katan drinking the Kool-Aid? I don't think so. I think, okay, so on one hand, these Mandalorians, like this particular sect of Mandalorians, think the mythosaur is a mystical creature with magical powers,
Mm-hmm.
where if you can ride it, it gives you magical power, like it makes you magically the leader
Yeah.
or whatever. I think she saw the mythosaur and was like, that is an animal just like every other fucking thing, but it's real, which is valuable. Like that information is really valuable.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking she happens to stumble upon a Mando group, a warrior clan, with apparently a lot of fucking members who are all very good at fighting, and they're all very easily manipulated because of their superstition. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to keep this fucking helmet on and see where it takes me. And I'm pretty sure her goal throughout this season, which we're now halfway through the season, is going to be to get all the Mandos under her command and then take Mandalore back. And then also get the Darksaber from... Because if she can do the mythosaur thing and the Darksaber thing, who's ever going to like doubt, you know? Because remember that Bo-Katan was given the Darksaber, and it was a huge problem for a lot of her followers, where they didn't necessarily... They believed that since it was given to her and she didn't win it in combat, that she's like cursed.
She didn't earn it.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
So...
I think that's definitely possible. My interpretation of Bo-Katan through this episode was largely that she's like unsure of whether she wants to hang around with this cult or not, and she's like unsure of her own place in the galaxy and whether it could be here or whether she should take off and go somewhere else. But if so, like, where does she go? Because like she doesn't have a castle anymore, she doesn't have friends anymore.
Yeah, that's why I kind of feel like she's doing the opportunist thing, I guess. I don't think that she has all of a sudden started believing in... I think she's still a skeptic,
I
what I'm saying.
think seeing the mythosaur started turning some wheels in her head, and she's thinking about all those old Mandalorian traditions and things like if a mythosaur is real, and if I saw it with my own fucking eyes, what else is real?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know.
Well, which isn't necessarily the logical thing that I know you're in love with, but it does seem like a human response to me.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a part of Bo-Katan, especially the way I think Katie Sackhoff plays her, where she's a little aloof, and she's very laser focused on her goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's gonna do whatever she can to make that happen. We'll see who's right.
Yeah.
Probably neither of us. I don't know. Maybe she and the Armor fall in love and they do the Mando scissor or something. So Crystal says
the Beskar scissor.
Yeah, God, I don't know, dude. We've just invented a brand new Star Wars sex position, the Mandalorian scissor or the Beskar scissor.
Mm-hmm.
Crystal says, I really love this episode. It was very reminiscent of when we first see Bo-Katan in Clone Wars when she doesn't take her helmet off. I love that she got the Mythosaur insignia. I am liking that she is trying to follow the rules. I wonder if in the end she will convince the other Mandalorians to take their helmets off, which is another way to look at it.
Yeah.
She might be like, look, now that I've worn the helmet for a bit, you guys need to know something. Like, this is all bullshit, which is, I guess, another way that it could go.
Yeah.
But I want to see how she will get the Darksaber back. I have a feeling that her and Din will probably fight so she can have it back. I do wish the episode was a lot longer, though. Me too. Remember that originally when Din Djarin got the Darksaber, he literally was like, just fucking take it. Like, I don't want this. I'm not so sure that he would part with it as easily now. I think that he's matured a little bit, and I wonder if at some point the thought doesn't occur to him, maybe I'm the person that should be the one that takes charge of everything.
Well, when he first offered it to her, I don't think he was aware of the full significance of it. Because
that's true.
It wasn't until he went to go hang out with the armorer in Book of Boba Fett that she told him, like, hey, this is, what...
That he even knew about it, yeah.
The Mandalorians use to determine their leader.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah. So Warhammer says, I didn't know that guy was Jar Jar Binks' voice. Very cool.
I didn't realize it either.
Yeah, I knew the second I fucking saw him. I shat my pants. And I'm really mad at what I was a kid then when episode 1 came out. Yeah. So like I obviously wasn't a part of the proto, like the beginning part of the internet's obsession with trying to abuse Star Wars actors. But I still feel really responsible because we're still doing shit like that. Like as a fandom, there are still parts of our fandom that are disgusting and absolutely reprehensible that go after people because they can't, in their mind, they can't separate the actor from the character that they're playing, or they don't like the fact that they're a woman, or they don't like the fact that they're Asian, which, I'm sorry, are things. Like, I've seen the fucking comments. You can't say it doesn't happen. It does fucking happen. So I was so jazzed to see that Ahmed Best is like, I'm going to be a badass with lightsabers. There's no way anyone can have a problem with this. He doesn't even really say that much.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not like he can say, oh, his lines were really badly written. He says like 6 things. He basically just kills stormtroopers the whole time. And I'm like, that's fucking great. Yeah. So let us know what you thought in the comments. And any of your perspectives. This is a live show.
Yes.
So while you're doing it, I'll read them when it makes sense. And also make sure you can talk about all this on our Discord as well, which the link for our Discord is in the description of the video you're watching. So go and do that. Now we have to talk about the Bad Batch episode 50? 14, yeah. Sorry, I rounded up. So
like we skimmed over last week's episode because there's too much Mandalorian to talk about.
Yeah, which I thought was really fucking great, by the way, that the 1 week because of the Last of Us finale, we needed a shorter Mandalorian episode. And they're like, no, 50 minutes, bitches. Yeah.
Anyway, the short version is that the Bad Batch came to this planet called Pabu that's totally outside the Empire's sphere of influence and decided to just stay there for a while.
Yeah.
So we open on this gray, rocky planet. There's an Imperial base that we pan down to, and there's some clone prisoners who are being marched onto a prison ship escorted by some stormtroopers and a couple of clone commandos, which I think is interesting that the clone commandos are still working for the Empire. The clone commandos thing is kind of weird. Yeah. Because like they're very hot and cold with clones. Or are those actually clones that are in that, or is it just a cool? I mean, they're in the clone commando armor, and like they made a big deal out of getting new armor for stormtroopers and not recycling the clone armor for them. Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those weird things. Yeah. So anyway, they're being escorted by this pissant officer is like, get him on the ship. We gotta fucking get out of here. We're behind schedule. Look, the people at Star Wars really want you to hate Imperial officers because everyone we've ever met is just a total dick.
All of them.
What it is that the troopers are all wearing these helmets, so you don't really have faces to attach to them. But the officers, they can like put all that mustache twirling into them, and it's like, holy shit, I remember that guy. He's an asshole.
He's got that fucking hair and and that face.
Got that face, yeah. So the prison ship gets up to orbit, and just as they do, this other ship comes out of hyperspace and fucking starts shooting at them. Turns out that it's Echo and a bunch of other clones.
Surprise, it's Echo.
Yeah, we haven't seen Echo in a while. Yeah. So they disable the prison ship's hyperdrive and board it. There's stormtroopers running around trying to protect it.
It's got a neat little detachable bit.
Yeah.
That like, they do like they're like, look, we're over here. We're actually right here. Yeah.
It's great. So they're gunning down the stormtroopers and stuff. So on the bridge, the officer is like, why the fuck are we here? Like, fucking erase the ship's database. We gotta initiate the protocols, make sure they don't get anything.
They can't get our fucking passwords.
Yeah. So Clone Trooper Fireball goes down to the prison, and it turns out it's fucking Captain Hauser from Ryloth.
Yes.
And two other clones, but they don't matter as much. Echo and the Clone Trooper Nemec go up to the bridge, and they fucking capture it, and Nemec is like, holding this officer at gunpoint. Like, where are you going? What are you doing with these clones? And the officer is like, fuck this, and bites out on his suicide tooth.
I've decided to die. Bye. Which, by the way, I thought it was really great. Like, the Clone Troopers are so much better at shooting things than the Stormtroopers are.
Yeah, because they were literally bred for it.
Yeah, 2 of them literally take over the whole ship.
3, but yeah. So Echo is like plugging his robot arm in, trying to get the data and stuff, and he's like grabs this computer spike, stabs it in, and is trying to get the data, but it's all being deleted. Then this fucking Venator drops out of hyperspace and starts launching fighters, and the clones are like, well, shit, we got to get out of here now.
Not the interceptors.
Yes, so they get back to their ship and disappear as the fighters blow up the prison ship. The cloning lab base on Wayland, because that's the name of the planet.
Mm-hmm. Mount Tantus.
Yep. So 2 stormtroopers come down and get Crosshair out of his prison cell, and they're fucking marching him down the hall. And as they go, he like looks into other cells and sees a bunch of clones hanging around.
I like how the one guy jabs him in the back to move, and Crosshair literally turns all the way around and looks at him like, don't do that.
Don't touch me.
Yeah.
So he gets taken down to this fucking lab station with the nurse lady with the fucking...
the goggles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, all right.
I think she's not a nurse. She's a scientist.
Whatever. Yeah. She's like, all right, so just fucking... the doctor's going to come down. He's going to ask some questions. Just fucking answer his questions and everything will be good.
Now, excuse me. I'm going to check my Twitter feed.
So fucking Dr. Hemlock comes down. And Crosshair's like, why the fuck am I here? Doctor's like, you know what? I'm it's not why you're here. It's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here to give you a new lease on life. I'll give you a clean slate if you just tell me how to find the Bad Batch, and especially Omega, because it's really Omega that I'm interested in. The Bad Batch I don't really care so much about, but I'm really looking for Omega.
Yeah.
Crosshair's like, you're fucking wasting your time. They're never going to give you the kid.
Yeah. Also, she's like 13. That's fucking gross, man.
Yeah. Hemlock is like, okay, well, just fucking tell me where they are, and I can let you go. And Crosshair's like, I don't fucking know where they are. So then the stormtroopers like fucking strap Crosshair down to this table, and the doctor's like, all right. But the thing is, you worked with the Bad Batch for a really long time, so like you know how they think, so you can give me some hints about where they are.
You have to know something.
Crosshair's like, there's no fucking, I don't know anything. Like, you're wasting your time here. Hemlock is like, well, that's very sad. Bring in the torture droid.
Yeah.
And the fucking torture droid from episode 4.
Bring in Chuck.
Yeah. Chuck the torture droid floats in and fucking, his needle is shining. He's ready to go. And
he like floats. He's like, I get to poke somebody with a needle now, right?
Right as the droid is about to stab him, Siston comes in and says, hey, fucking Dr. Hemlock, the prison ship was leaving Balmora and it got attacked. And the doctor's like, when it rains, it pours. Yeah. Just fucking keep torturing him and let me know when he says something. So we go to Coruscant, where Echo and the other clones are hanging out in the garage after their mission. Captain Hauser is like, yeah, I was in that prison for a while, and like I went in with 8 clones, and now there's only 3 of us, so, you know, Empire's not really doing a very good job of running that prison.
Yeah.
Senator Chuchi is there. She's the blue one from that one episode.
Blue one from that one episode.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So she's like, well, what the fuck were you in prison for? Hauser's like, you know, disobedience and questioning orders. I mean, we kind of told the Empire to fuck off and say that we weren't going to do their dirty work anymore.
Driving while clone.
Yeah. Hauser's like, all right, so I don't know where the fuck we were going, but other clones had also been moved out of that prison, and we never saw any of them again, so whatever it is, it's not pretty.
Yeah.
Echo's like, you know what? I got a little bit of the prison ship's data, but it's all encrypted, but don't worry, I know a guy. I'll be right back.
It's Babu Frick. It's not really Babu Frick.
That's not Babu Frick. So Crosshair is still being tortured, And the nurse is like, all right, just fucking chill for a second. You know, I got to refresh Twitter. Why don't you guys like fucking, like, he can't talk if he's dead. I got to check Twitter. Why don't you guys just like fucking check his restraints or something? So stormtroopers move
also,
to like,
make sure you respond. You very irresponsibly lay your gun down right next to him.
Exactly. So one of them lays their gun right down next to Crosshair's hand on the table. And Crosshair just...
Don't touch this.
Crosshair can barely fucking move, but he grabs his gun, shoots both stormtroopers and Chuck the torture droid.
Yeah.
And he turns the gun around on fucking Nurse Lady, and she's like, no, I know what you're thinking right now. You're probably thinking that I'm a really bad person and that you want to just shoot your way out of the situation, but I'm asking you to just take a second and think, because there's no way you're getting off of this planet. Crosshair's like, fuck you, and he stuns her.
Yeah. I've considered your request, and I've decided to shoot you.
So he...
With a stun, though.
Yeah, he stuns her, he fucking takes her key card, and he goes off down the halls. He's fucking shooting other stormtroopers. Not stunning them, actually just straight up killing them.
Yeah.
Makes his way down to this, like, computer center and fucking plugs in the key card and starts dialing the phone. He's like, Plan 88. Like, you just gotta get out of there. You're being hunted, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And somewhere else in the facility, some stormtroopers like, hey, someone's making a phone call. Yeah, someone's making a phone call. Fucking lock that room down and fucking gas them. So the doors seal. There's this yellow, gross gas that comes in, and Crosshair just fucking collapses on the floor because he can't breathe that shit. Dr. Hemlock comes in. He's like, yes, having trouble breathing, are you? Well, this is my special gas. I'm immune to it, but you aren't. So it kind of sucks to be you now, doesn't it? So we go to Pabu, the nice planet. The Bad Batch is like, they've been hanging out there for a while. They helped fix things, and now they're getting on pretty well. So Shep the mayor asks Hunter, yeah, you know, you got that friend coming down. Like, he's a clone too, right? Yeah, and Hunter's like, yeah, you know, but he's not with the Empire. He's cool. He's one of the good ones. Mm-hmm. So Wrecker comes barreling up the pier and fucking slaps down this huge fucking fish that he just caught. He's like, I caught dinner.
Yeah, he's so fucking pleased with himself too. I like how he's literally just a 10-year-old.
Yeah. And some of the other villagers are like, hey, Wrecker, come fucking help us fix this thing. And Wrecker's like, absolutely.
Yeah, he's so happy to do everything.
Yeah. So Shep is like, hey, Hunter, are you guys going to stay here permanently? Because, like, you feel like you're a pretty important part of our community at this point. Hunter's like, I don't really know if I want to, put down roots anywhere. So just then, the Marauder flies overhead, and it's fucking Tech giving Omega flying lessons. She is the stereotypical, like, overexcited teenage driver. She's going way too fast. She's going around corners and diving and all that shit. And Tech is, like, desperately wishing he had an extra brake pedal.
Yeah. He's the stereotypical dad teaching his daughter how to drive and freaking the fuck out the whole time. Also, is my dog making it into frame here?
I don't think so.
He almost is.
Anyway, so Tech is like, all right, so let's just fucking teach you to do a fucking trick maneuver. I want you to go and turn off the throttle and turn around and jet the other way. And Omega's like, the tech turn! I've always wanted to do the tech turn! And she does it perfectly. Yeah. And Tech is like, yes, good job.
It's really just a J turn. Like a run-of-the-mill J turn.
So
in a spaceship.
Yeah, then the alarm goes off and it's an incoming ship. And Omega's like, holy shit, it's Echo! And Echo's like, hey, I'll fucking race you to the landing pad. And Omega's like, you're on!
Tech's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. So Echo's ship lands first because he was faster. Hunter's like, hey, Echo, what the fuck's going on with you? Echo's like, you were right, man. This place is really out of the way. Like, it took me so long to get here. So the Marauder lands, and Echo's like, well, what about Sid? Hunter's like, yeah, she's a big jerk. We don't work for her anymore. So Omega runs up and gives Echo a hug, and Echo's like, all right, Tech, just the man I needed to see. I got this encrypted data off a prison ship. I need you to figure out where the fuck the clone prisoners were going and why. So we jump back to Wayland, where Dr. Hemlock is in his office talking on the phone with Tarkin. He's like, all right, look, I know we lost the prison ship. It's no big deal. You're kind of overreacting. Can you just calm down? Tarkin's like, bitch, if they know where to find you, you're going to learn it's a pretty big fucking deal right away. Hemlock is like, well, I mean, the bigger question here is how did the clones know which ship to hit? Tarkin is like, it's probably a traitor somewhere, but, we're going to figure that out. We're going to just fucking kick out all the clones. Hemlock is like
it's probably Krennic, that fucker. Oh wait, we're not having that conversation yet.
Hemlock is like, look, just kicking all the clones out is not going to solve your fucking problem. Send them to me. I'll figure out how to deal with it, and we'll all be happy. Tarkin's like, yes. I want to report on my desk this time tomorrow. And we leave there and go back to Pabu. Echo is talking to Hunter. He's like, so what are you guys gonna do? You gonna fucking stay here? Because it seems kind of nice. They got really good sushi here. Hunter's like, maybe we will. The sushi is pretty good. So Echo's like, yeah, me and Rex have been building up this network of clones inside and outside the Empire, and we're trying to figure out how to, fuck with the Empire a bunch and help the clones out. And Hunter's like, dude, you realize the Empire is fucking enormous with like more ships and troops and guns than you could ever deal with. Like, you can't beat them. And Echo's like, I'm not trying to beat them. I'm just trying to, take care of the clones.
Mm-hmm.
We got to take care of our own people.
Which I love this arc for him, by the way. I love this story arc for him. I think it's a really neat, seeing how they, seeing how the Empire treats clones, and then it being Echo's job to to go in, because he hasn't run off and joined the rebellion, but he's doing something.
Yeah.
I love that for him.
So Tech calls and says, yeah, I figured out the data, but you all got to come in here because this is too big to talk about over the phone. I need you all to come over to the ship. So on the Marauder, Tech is like, yeah, so I figured out the prison ship belonged to the Imperial Advanced Science Division, which doesn't appear on any organization charts and doesn't officially exist, but it's there. What I could find out is that their boss, Dr. Hemlock, used to be a Republic scientist, but he got kicked out due to some extremely illegal and unethical experiments.
I really thought you were just about to say he used to be a Republican. Anyway.
Tech is like, yeah, there were some transfer records that say tons of other clones are being moved around, including Crosshair. Hunter's like, are you sure about that? And Tech is like, I am absolutely certain, because like I checked, like as soon as I saw his number on the list, I checked our old comm channels.
Yeah, checked our old voicemail.
And Crosshair,
we had like 100 messages from Crosshair.
Yeah, like the most recent one from Crosshair is fucking Plan 88, the Seeker, which means that we're being targeted. Mm-hmm. Hunter is like, are you sure this isn't a trap? And like Tech's like, only one way to find out, bitch. We need to fucking go. So back on Wayland, Crosshair is back being strapped to the table and being tortured again. Hemlock comes in and says, look, you can't escape. You're being tortured. Your only way out of this is to fucking tell me what I want to know. And Crosshair just doesn't talk, doesn't look at him, is just like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not telling you anything. Hemlock is like, dude, seriously. All I need is the little girl. You don't even fucking care. You don't even like kids.
Yeah.
Like, just tell me where to find the fucking girl and we can all go on with our lives. And Crosshair is like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Hemlock is like, fine, I guess we'll just have to torture you even harder. Bring in Chuck number 2 and 3. They can do it at the same time. And then the credits roll, and that's the episode.
I think this is great. This is another step in the direction of my theory about Crosshair rejoining the Bad Batch.
Absolutely.
The fact that he was kind of writing the line in the first place with it, like, is he going to be loyal to the Empire or whatever? Mm-hmm. The fact that he sent them that message is 100%. I'm done with this.
Yes.
I
mean, they're fucking strapping him to a table and torturing him. It's hard to go back from that.
Yeah, it seems like it finally got through to him, and
Yeah.
So
last thing, there's 2 episodes of the Bad Batch next week, which is going to be the season finale.
Yeah.
Do you think all the Bad Batch survive?
It's funny. If they were to kill anyone, I think they would kill Tech.
Really?
He's the one that they've really been kind of building up as a sympathetic character. Though it would be really fucked up of them to kill their only neurodivergent character.
Yeah. For like purely from a writing perspective, Tech is an extremely useful plot device, because when you need someone to do the what's it to the technobabble, he's your guy.
You can't kill Wrecker because he's a child.
You can't kill Wrecker. You can't kill Hunter. You can't kill Omega. That really only leaves Tech, Echo, and Crosshair. And like with all they're doing,
they could do like a sacrificial redemption for Crosshair, maybe.
Maybe. I'm also not certain that they're gonna kill any of them.
Yeah, it's.
This is just an idea that popped in my head right now. I hadn't really given it very much thought.
Yeah, I mean, because like Echo's off doing his own thing, so they've got a spot on the ship,
Except they've definitely got him for at least this, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no way he's gonna miss out on this.
Right, but I presume after they're done, he goes off and does this thing again. So
could very well be, yeah.
And the only way to find out, fucking come back next week. 6 o'clock p.m. Central. We'll recap it along with the next episode of Mandalorian. Here in just a couple of moments, Chris and I will be exploring the universe a la Han Solo and Chewbacca. Both of us playing those. I'm going to give you a flight lesson at some point too. and hopefully you don't crash my $300 million ship.
I would be